AI art has been a large topic of conversation lately, with many online artists talking about how it's going to be taking their jobs, and as such, Asmongold found himself in a bit of hot water when talking about AI in regards to that recent Lord of the Rings AI Ghibli reinterpretation. And remember when I say this, that this show is about diversity of thought, so if you have negative opinions about AI art, fair enough, but maybe hear me out here, because, spoiler alert, Asmongold is right. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and yes, Asmongold is not the only topic of conversation here. Also, we've got Shadiversity, who, while Asmongold is correct, Shadiversity is very wrong. And then there are some other artists that have given their thoughts, and we're going to go ahead and talk about those. Before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. But before we get into any of that, what did Asmongold actually say? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at it, and we can see it for yourselves.
About like the tech for it to understand, like, okay, each one of these things is a pillar. These are people walking down here. Like this to me is fucking crazy.
First of all, whether you like or loathe AI art, technologically speaking, you gotta acknowledge it is crazy. It is kind of amazing from a purely technological standpoint. Like, do you imagine growing up in whatever era you grew up in, the 90s, early 2000s, late 80s, whatever it may be, that this would be a thing that you could just type into a device and it will magically create a generated image to your specifications? That is some straight up sci-fi stuff. We're living in the future. So even if you loathe AI, you gotta admit, that's kind of amazing that this is where we're at technologically. But what else is it to say? Let's keep going.
So you're going to see this happen a lot more. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to have any jobs pretty soon. Like, I would definitely say, like, that's, you know, you have the, what is that, the 9 leaving Minas Morgul. Like, oh, fuck, man. This is insane. And so you've got Rivendell here. Yeah, so if you are an artist, this has been a really bad week for you. And
I kind of disagree with this, by the way. There's a caveat to it, and we'll get into a little bit further when we talk about AI itself. But when he says if you're an artist, this has been a rough week for you, that's both true and not true.
I want to promise you that it's going to get worse, okay? So if you're an artist and this is upsetting you and you're worried, I want to promise you that it's only going to get worse. This is only the beginning. There will be like man-made horrors beyond the comprehension of the human mind. You don't even know what it's going to be like, right? And I would focus on a career change. Yeah, exactly. And focus, like, go be a plumber or something like that.
Yes, and by the way, he is correct. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, for the artists watching this, this is true. Far too much time, money, and effort has been invested, especially the money, by the way, into AI. Like, it's not just going to stop being a thing because some bleeding heart liberal artists are throwing a fit about it on X. Like, sorry, that's not how the money game works. And so this is going to be used, by the way, not just in art. AI is going to be used in a myriad of other instances. When AI begins to write code, certain coders may be out of work. Or look at the film Logan, where they've got the AI self-driving trucks. That could very well be a thing in the next 10 years or so, putting some truckers out of work. But you know what? There will still be jobs because there'll be people to maintain the AI, to work on the back end of the computer stuff. So yes, this is how technology has always progressed. There's been changes in technology that have led to certain other practices being, if not completely outdated, drastically reduced or becoming a niche. We don't really need basket weavers anymore because we've got assembly lines with machines that do the same thing. But the people that can weave baskets can charge absorbent amounts for those baskets due to the handmade tender care of having an actual human-made product. And again, we'll get into more of that in a moment, but the fact of the matter is, AI is not going anywhere. You can bitch and moan and throw a fit all you want to talk about how it's inhumane and how it's inhuman and the heart and soul is gone and call it slop. And to be fair, you may be correct about a lot of those points. But if it's not going anywhere, it's kind of a waste of time and effort and, frankly, your own breath and keystrokes to throw a fit about it. But Asmongold, he got flamed. He got flamed pretty hard. Again, even though he is objectively correct. Asmongold has never made anything. He has no passion for anything and therefore can't appreciate anything because he's a hollow shell of a person that just mindlessly consumes products and sits on his ass all day. So it makes perfect sense that he talk about AI image generation this way. You didn't at any point say that he was wrong. It's what I'm noticing here, which is funny. Also saying he never made anything. created a very successful company in terms of the gaming industry, the let's not let's plays, e-gaming, streaming when it comes to online competitive sports. He creates content. I mean, he is a content creator. Now, he might not draw or sculpt or anything. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, there's more to creation than just putting pen to paper. By the way, the whole putting pen to paper thing, another thing I like to point out to folks is the printing press didn't put the pen out of business. Real artists aren't actually going anywhere, but we'll get to more of that in a moment. What about the tall black nerd? This is one of my least favorite accounts on X. They are so retarded. Asmongold constantly shows you how devoid of any kind of empathy he has. He is a consumer, just wants products. Fucking soulless molding corpse. I'm sorry, I don't care about empathy. Like, first of all, him stating objective truths is not inherently not empathetic. Like, a truth is a truth. You can be sad that certain people are going to be losing their jobs due to the advent of AI as it does continue to grow and grow, and as more people invest in it, and as more work gets put into it. But it's still the future. Talking about it as a fact that this is where things are going, yeah, that's not about being devoid of empathy. That's just being a realist. Unfortunately, there are people like this on X that want to pretend that we live in some sort of fantasy utopia where everything is just milk and honey and can be handed to them, when no, that's just not the way the world operates. And it never has been, by the way. Take a look at this cell phone, for example. There were people back in the 90s and early 2000s that thought that cell phones were never going to be ubiquitous, that we would still always have a home phone landline in our homes. Guess what? They were wrong. Go look at old newspaper clippings from the early 80s when it talks about video games. We've all seen this shared around on X, where they talk about how video games will be a passing fad. Well, guess what? Now video games are the largest grossing entertainment industry in the world, legally at least, non-black market-wise. So yes, people are frequently wrong about the progression of technology. This is just another thing that they are wrong about, and those that see that this is the future and this is where things are headed are already ahead of the curve. But then you got folks like Shad and Brooks here. Now, Shad is an idiot. Shad is very wrong, and this isn't really about AI so much as specifically the Ghibli trend that was happening. The Ghibli art style is plain uninspired, and the actual reasons people love it is because of the quality of the stories the style has been attached to, and the fluidity and details of the animations it appears in, not the style itself. Full stop. That's idiotic. That's incorrect. Calling it plain and uninspired is complete and utter bogus. Now, it is simple. Absolutely, it is simple, but there's a beauty in simplicity. There's nothing inherently wrong with something being simple, and what do you mean uninspired? I mean, I'm a massive Dragon Ball fan. Y'all know that. Compare Akira Toriyama's style to a lot of other anime. It's actually pretty simple. He's got a very simple design philosophy compared to a lot of other anime. Or don't even look at art, look at products, look at physical things. The Rubik's Cube is a simple toy, but people love it to this day. It sells to this day. Baby dolls are relatively simple. They still sell. I mean, at the end of the day, people love the beauty in simplicity when it's done well. So calling it plain, uninspired, it's nonsense. He says, I get that there's an innocent charm to it, hence the fun in depicting controversial images in it, but that does not make the style itself anything special when separated from those stories it's been used in, the quality of the animation. But it does. You want to know why it's special? No one else is doing it. Yes, it's simple, but it's still distinctively Ghibli. No one else can capture that and do it properly when it comes to other individuals that have tried. It has made a mark on history for literal generations. It hasn't really changed since the 70s all the way up to 2023's The Boy and the Heron, which, by the way, deservedly won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature because it was the best, even though that style hasn't changed much in 40 to 50-ish years. It's because it is that distinctive, because people love that style. It's not just the stories, although many of the stories are fantastic. I'm a big Ghibli fan myself. No, the art is impactful. Something doesn't need to be overly complicated. And when you compare the Ghibli style to this AI version, guess what? Even though I'm an AI defender, I like the Ghibli version better. I do like the lack of detail. That is part of the charm. Calling it, like, what were the exact words you used? That's right, plain and uninspired. There's nothing plain about this. There's a difference between plain and simple. Shad is a moron. He is not like Asmongold. While Asmongold is talking about objectively correct things like the future of AI when it comes to business, Shad is talking about the subjective artistry, and I say subjective, but And he's just flat out wrong, so it can't even really be subjective. But then you got Gregor Samsung here. The whole Studio Ghibli AI trend honestly gives me secondhand embarrassment. Knowing how hard Hayao Miyazaki has fought to retain the identity of his films and how many of you are willing to make a farce out of decades of artistry because you don't actually value it. But no. I disagree. Clearly people value it. Why do people value it? Because it inspired them so much through all these years that now they have the ability at their fingertips to just lovingly create a quick little fun image of themselves in that style. They're not profiting off of it. They're not marketing it. They're not stealing someone else's work and then trying to pass it off as their own. We all know that's not what's going on. Because of the cultural influence of Studio Ghibli, these people can just have a little fun one-off thing on the internet. I mean, you don't see people complaining to PETA about the Icon has cheeseburger memes, all the cats. Oh, they're exploiting these cats for comedy. No, it's just people having fun on the internet. And you know what? Ghibli was the chosen art style because it has resonated with so many people the world over, separated again by generations. You don't see people doing that with like the Rick and Morty style or the Adventure Time style or whatever, but they're doing it for Ghibli. But then we get my boy Mugen Lord here. Mugen Lord, great dude, love him, good friend. He'll be on the show tomorrow. Make sure to check it out. He owns a comic book company. He had this to say: I know AI sucks for a lot of real artists out there, and a lot of jobs will be lost because of it. Full stop. This is, I want to loop back to something I was saying earlier. I disagree. AI does not suck for real artists. AI sucks for shitty artists. Because if you are a good artist, you're always going to have work. It doesn't matter what we can create with AI. If you are a good artist, you will always have work. AI sucks for the shitty artists that are mediocre, but they can still do more than your average Joe who doesn't have the artistic bone in their body and hasn't trained in practice or whatnot. So you can take these mediocre artists can do commissions for something that, let's be real, isn't that great, but it's still better than what you could do. But now AI is cranking stuff out better than what they could do, and that worries them because they're not actually that good at their jobs. There's no value. It's not a commodity anymore. So no, just like I said earlier, how the printing press didn't put the pencil out of business, there will always be people that want true, real, warm art that is created by the human hand. In fact, the advent of AI will now only make that even more valuable because when everyone can create these relatively decent looking images, an actual blood, sweat, and passion piece from a truly talented artist will be worth even more. And this isn't just me talking out my ass, by the way. This is, oh, Leon, you're an AI supporter. No, I am, yes. However, when's the last time you bought real art? Because I was just on a stream a couple weeks ago. There was an art auction done by a professional comic book artist, and I bought not one, but two original, one-of-a-kind pieces that nobody else will ever have. I have another original, one-of-a-kind piece just sitting just off camera there by the same artist. Why have I now gotten 3 pieces of original, one-of-a-kind artwork by this artist? Because he is great at what he does. He's amazing. I believe in it. I've watched him do this art live on streams, and I think he is incredible. I'm a Comic Con nerd. I'm an Anime Con nerd. Whenever I go to these anime conventions, what's the first thing I do? Well, besides registration, I go to the artist alley. Before I check out the manga, or the statues, or the anime, or the action figures, or whatever it may be, I go to artist alley, and I leave every goddamn con with at least one, usually actually about 4 pieces of art done by real artists. So I don't want to hear that I don't value art, or I don't value artists, because I guarantee you, I bought far more and definitely paid far more than the vast majority of you probably watching have because I love it. I've got a several $100 original piece of art hanging just off view that I cannot show you because it would break YouTube terms of service, but it is of a topless Jessica Rabbit. I've shown some of you guys this before on stream and posted pictures of it and whatnot. Point is, it is an amazing piece of art. Paid a lot of money for this canvas painting of it. The fact of the matter is, I love art. I love good art. I will always support good artists. But AI is the future. It is coming. There's no way around that. And it's not a danger to good artists. This means anyone, everyone create works of fiction with the click of a button. But you know what also that means? Since anyone can do it, it means it'll be easy to spot who are the amateurs and who are the professionals. AI is a tool that's meant to be used. A real artist will be able to use this tool to their advantage and push the tool far beyond what non-artist amateur could ever create with it. It's like a pro fighting game player having access to easy controls and auto combos. They already know the fundamentals of fighting games and are good at them. Yeah, easy controls suck, but if a pro controller gets their hands on it, they will do more with it than a non-pro. Why work for an animation studio when you can now become a one-man or woman studio of your own? You're a step ahead of the curve. Since you've been crafting your skills for years, why depend on others to employ you when you can employ yourself, turn a negative into a positive? It is either adapt or get left behind. We've seen this every time new generations of technology is introduced, and yet people are still here and new opportunities are created. Bingo, bango, bongo, my man Mugen is correct. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, Mugen Lord is a comic book creator. He has his own comic company. As somebody who supports artists, by the way, I have purchased his comic. It is actually in the mail now. Guess what he doesn't do? Doesn't use AI. He has one singular real-life artist, a female who does amazing work. And when that book gets here in the mail, I am going to crack it open immediately. Now, there are digital copies of his book. I have a digital copy. I haven't read it yet. I haven't even checked it out yet. Why? Because when I open that, the first time I experienced that story and that art and all the love and passion that not just he as the writer, but also the artist put into it, I want to feel it in my hands as a floppy, the way comics were meant to be read. That being said, for the convenience of it, I do have the digital version on my PC, and maybe I'll read that from time to time. Who's to say? But yeah, that's the point, is that for folks out there throwing a fit about AI, they don't actually care about AI. They care that they will no longer be able to make money in an industry that they probably weren't that great at to begin with. And guess what? It also doesn't matter how good your art is if you're bad at marketing, if you can't sell yourself, sell your products. You can be an amazing artist, but if you don't have the skills to show that to the world and find potential customers and find people to purchase that art, then you would have needed a different job anyway because you weren't going to be able to sustain yourself on it. At the end of the day, as much as we love art as a business is very hard to do. Most things at the end of the day like that are luxuries, and folks have to, if they're going to be in any sort of artistic endeavor, usually work real jobs. You can be a great musician and have a local band and play at the bar every night for 10 years, but if you're not doing what you can to elevate yourself to the next level, you're never going to be on the radio, or your music's never going to be downloaded by thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people on iTunes. And you know what? Maybe that's fine. Maybe you're satisfied with that. But the people bitching, moaning, they're not satisfied. At the end of the day, they love making their art, I'm sure. And again, we're being pretty liberal calling it art. But they also want to get paid doing it. I remember not too terribly long ago, there was this individual on X throwing up bitch fit about an Amy Rose, the character from Sonic the Hedgehog, AI art piece that was on X. And they decided to redo it, but with their real art. And you know what? It was worse. It wasn't good. Looking at the two side by side, the handmade version was worse. But in the hands of a talented artist, yes, I guarantee you it would have been better. But the thing that gets me the most about this AI art stuff is that most of the folks that are generating the AI art weren't going to pay an artist anyway. Like, they weren't just sitting out there looking like, well, I can't find an artist, so I guess I'll make it myself with AI. You know, most of these people wouldn't have done it anyway. I have bought art. I love buying art. When I use AI art, I'm using it for shit that's like just quick, easy access, stuff I never would have paid an artist for, whether it be because it's not worth the money, or more importantly, it's not worth the turnaround time if I need it in that instant. Like, that's what it boils down to. But again, these individuals don't get that because they see their bottom line getting cut into, and it's also an easy thing to virtue signal off of. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. Not always about AI or Asmongold, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course, get involved with over 180 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity of thought. If that's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.